Volume 2, Chapter 6 of Rob Roy. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Rob Roy, by Sir Walter Scott. Volume 2, Chapter 6. Hame came our goodman at e'en, and hame came he, and there he saw a man, where a man shouldna be. How's this now, kimmer? How's this? quo' he. How came this carle here, without the leave o' me? Old Song. The magistrate took the light out of the servant-maid's hand, and advanced to his scrutiny, like Diogenes in the street of Athens, lantern in hand, and probably with as little expectation as that of the cynic, that he was likely to encounter any especial treasure in the course of his researches. The first whom he approached was my mysterious guide, who, seated on a table as I have already described him, with his eyes firmly fixed on the wall, his features arranged into the utmost inflexibility of expression, his hands folded on his breast with an air betwixt carelessness and defiance, his heel patting against the foot of the table, to keep time with the tune which he continued to whistle, submitted to Mr. Jarvie's investigation with an air of absolute confidence and assurance, which for a moment placed at fault the memory and sagacity of the acute investigator. "Ah! Oh!" exclaimed the Bailie. "My conscience! It's impossible! And yet, no! Conscience! It canna be! And yet again, Deil hae me, that I suld say, ye robber, ye canteran, ye born deevil that ye are, to a' bad ends and nae good ane. Can this be you?" "E'en as ye see, Bailie," was the laconic answer. "Conscience! If I am not clean babazed, ye cheat the wuddy rogue, you, here on your venture in the Tolbooth at Glasgow, what d'ye think's the value o' your head?" "Umph! Why, fairly weighed in Dutch weight, it might weigh down one provost's, 4 bailies, a town clerk's, 6 deacons, besides stent-masters." "Ah, ye reiving villain!" interrupted Mr. Jarvie; "but tell ower your sins, and prepare ye, for if I say the word—" "True, Bailie," said he who was thus addressed, folding his hands behind him with the utmost nonchalance, "but ye will never say that word." "And why suld I not, sir?" exclaimed the magistrate; "why suld I not? Answer me that why suld I not?" "For 3 sufficient reasons, Bailie Jarvie. First, for auld lang syne; second, for the sake of the auld wife ayont the fire at Stackavberlichin, that made some mixture of our bluids, to my own proper shame be it spoken, that has a cousin with accounts, and yarn winnels, and looms and shuttles, like a mere mechanical person; and lastly, Bailie, because if I saw a sign o' your betraying me, I would plaster that while with your harns ere the hand of man could rescue you." "Ye're a bauld desperate villain, sir," retorted the undaunted Bailie; "and ye ken that I ken ye to be sae, and that I wadna stand a moment for my ain risk." "I ken weel," said the other, "ye had gentle bluid in your veins, and I would be laith to hurt my ain kinsman; but I'll gang out here as free as I came in, or the very walls of Glasgow Tolbooth shall tell o't these 10 years to come." "Weel, weel," said Mr. Jarvie, "bluid's thicker than water, and it liesna in kith, kin, and ally, to see mote in ilka other's een if other een see them no. It wad be sair news to the auld wife below the Ben of Stackavberlachin, that you, ye Highland limmer, had knockit out my harns, or that I had kilted you up in a tow. But ye'll own, ye dour deevil, that, were it no your very sell, I would hae grippit the best man in the Highlands." "Ye wad hae tried, cousin," answered my guide, "that I wot weel; but I doubt he would hae come off wi' the short measure; for we gang their auld Highland bodies with an unchancy generation when ye speak to us o' bondage. We dinna buy the coercion of good braid cloth about our hinderlands. Let a be breeks of freestone, and garters o' iron. You'll find the stane breeks in the iron garters, ay, and the hemp cravat, for a' that, neighbour, replied the Bailie. Nae man in a civilised country ever played the pilskies ye hae done, but e'en pickle in your ain pocknook I hae given ye wanting. Well, cousin, said the other, you'll wear black at my burial. Deil a black cloak will be there, Robin, but the corbies and the hoodie craws. I'se gie ye my hand on that. But whaur's the good £1,000 Scots that I lent ye, man, and when am I to see it again? Where it is, replied my guide, after the affectation of considering for a moment, I cannot justly tell. Probably where last year's snaw is. And that's on the tap of the Shallion, ye Highland dog, said Mr. Jarvie, and I look for payment frae you where ye stand. Ay, replied the Highlander, but I keep neither snaw nor dollars in my sporran. And as to when you'll see it, why, just when the king enjoys his ain again, as the auld song says. Worst o' all, Robin, retorted the Glaswegian, I mean, ye disloyal traitor, worst o' all! Why do ye bring popery in on us, and arbitrary power, and a foist and a warming pan, and the set forms, and the curates, and the auld enormities of surplices and cerements? Ye had better stick to your auld trade of theft boot, blackmail, sprigs, and gill ravaging. Better stealing nowt than ruining nations. Hout, man! Whisht wi' your whiggery, answered the Celt. We hae kenned ane anither mony a long day. I'se take care your counting room is no cleaned out when the Gillenanelli come to redd up the Glasgow booths, and clear them of their auld shopwares. Gillenanelli, the lads with the kilts or petticoats. And unless it just fa in the preceese way o' your duty, ye maunna see me oftener, Nicol, than I am disposed to be seen. Ye are a daring villain, Rob, answered the Bailie, and ye will be hanged, that will be seen and heard tell o'. But I'se ne'er be the ill bird, and foul my nest, set apart strong necessity and the scry o' duty, which no man should hear and be inobedient. And what the devil's this?" he continued, turning to me. "Some gill ravager that ye hae listed, I daur say. He looks as if he had a baud heart to the highway, and a lang crag for the gibbet." "This, good Mr. Jarvie," said Owen, who, like myself, had been struck dumb during this strange recognition, and no less strange dialogue, which took place betwixt these extraordinary kinsmen, "this, good Mr. Jarvie, is young Mr. Frank Osbaldistone, only child of the head of our house, who should have been taken into our firm at the time Mr. Rashleigh Osbaldistone, his cousin, had the luck to be taken into it." Here Owen could not suppress a groan. "But howsoever—" "Oh, I have heard of that smake," said the Scottish merchant, interrupting him. "It is he whom your principal, like an obstinate odd fule, would make a merchant what he, or what he no, and the lad turned a strolling stage player, in pure dislike to the labour an honest man should live by. Weel, sir, what say you to your handiwork? Will Hamlet, the Dane, or Hamlet's ghost, be good security for Mr. Owen, sir?" "I don't deserve your taunt," I replied, "though I respect your motive, and am too grateful for the assistance you have afforded Mr. Owen to resent it. My only business here was to do what I could it is perhaps very little to aid Mr. Owen in the management of my father's affairs. My dislike of the commercial profession is a feeling of which I am the best and sole judge." "I protest," said the Highlander, "I had some respect for this callant even before I ken'd what was in him, but now I honour him for his contempt of weavers and spinners, and sic-like mechanical persons in their pursuits." "Ye're mad, Rob," said the Bailie, "mad as a March hare; though wherefore a hare suld be mad at March mair than at Martinmas, is mair than I can weel say. Weavers! Deil shake ye out o' the web the weaver craft made. Spinners, you'll spin and wind yourself a bonny pairn. And this young birkie here, that you're hoying and hounding on the shortest road to the gallows and the deevil, will his stage plays and his poetries help him here, d'ye think, ony mair than your depots and drawn dirks, ye reprobate that ye are? Will Titire to Patulay, as they ca't, tell him where Rashleigh Osbaldiston is, or Macbeth, and all his kerns and gallaglasses, and your end to boot, Rob, procure him 5,000 pounds to answer the bills which fa due 10 days hence, where they all rouped at the cross, basket hilts, androferous, leather targets, brogues, brocken, and sporrans. 10 days, I answered, and instinctively drew out Diana Vernon's packet, and the time being elapsed during which I was to keep the seal sacred, I hastily broke it open. A sealed letter fell from a blank enclosure, owing to the trepidation with which I opened the parcel. A slight current of wind, which found its way through a broken pane of the window, wafted the letter to Mr. Jarvie's feet, who lifted it, examined the address with unceremonious curiosity, and, to my astonishment, handed it to his Highland kinsman, saying, "Here's a wind has blown a letter to its right owner, though there were 10,000 chances against its coming to hand." The Highlander, having examined the address, broke the letter open without the least ceremony. I endeavoured to interrupt his proceeding. "You must satisfy me, sir," said I, "that the letter is intended for you, before I can permit you to peruse it." "Make yourself quite easy, Mr. Osbaldistone," replied the mountaineer with great composure. "Remember Justice Inglewood, Clerk Jobson, Mr. Morris. Above all, remember your vera humble servant, Robert Cromwell, and the beautiful Diana Vernon. Remember all this, and doubt no longer that the letter is for me." I remained astonished at my own stupidity. Through the whole night, the voice, and even the features of this man, though imperfectly seen, haunted me with recollections to which I could assign no exact local or personal associations. But now the light dawned on me at once. This man was Campbell himself. His whole peculiarities flashed on me at once. The deep strong voice, the inflexible, stern, yet considerate cast of features, the Scottish brogue, with its corresponding dialect and imagery, which, although he possessed the power at times of laying them aside, recurred at every moment of emotion, and gave pith to his sarcasm, or vehemence to his expostulation. Rather beneath the middle size than above it, his limbs were formed upon the very strongest model that is consistent with agility, while from the remarkable ease and freedom of his movements, you could not doubt his possessing the latter quality in a high degree of perfection. 2 points in his person interfered with the rules of symmetry. His shoulders were so broad in proportion to his height, as, notwithstanding the lean and lathy appearance of his frame, gave him something the air of being too square in respect to his stature, and his arms, though round, sinewy, and strong, were so very long as to be rather a deformity. I afterwards heard that this length of arm was a circumstance on which he prided himself, that when he wore his native Highland garb, he could tie the garters of his hose without stooping, and that it gave him great advantages in the use of the broadsword, at which he was very dexterous. But certainly this want of symmetry destroyed the claim he might otherwise have set up, to be accounted a very handsome man. It gave something wild, irregular, and, as it were, unearthly, to his appearance, and reminded me involuntarily of the tales which Mabel used to tell of the old Picts who ravaged Northumberland in ancient times, who, according to her tradition, were a sort of half goblin, half human beings, distinguished, like this man, for courage, cunning, ferocity, the length of their arms, and the squareness of their shoulders. When, however, I recollected the circumstances in which we formerly met, I could not doubt that the billet was most probably designed for him. He had made a marked figure among those mysterious personages over whom Diana seemed to exercise an influence, and from whom she experienced an influence in her turn. It was painful to think that the fate of a being so amiable was involved in that of desperadoes of this man's description, yet it seemed impossible to doubt it. Of what use, however, could this person be to my father's affairs? I could think only of one. Rashleigh Osbaldistone had, at the instigation of Miss Vernon, certainly found means to produce Mr. Campbell, when his presence was necessary to exculpate me from Mr. Morris's accusation. Was it not possible that her influence in like manner might prevail on Campbell to produce Rashleigh? Speaking on this supposition, I requested to know where my dangerous kinsman was, and when Mr. Campbell had seen him. The answer was indirect. "It's a kittle cast she has gi'en me to play, but yet it's fair play, and I winna balk her. Mr. Osbaldistone, I dwell not very far from hence. My kinsman can show you the way. Leave Mr. Owen to do the best he can in Glasgow. Do you come and see me in the glens, and it's like I may pleasure you, and stead your father in his extremity. I am but a poor man, but wit's better than wealth, and cousin," turning from me to address Mr. Jarvie, "if ye daur venture sae muckle as to eat a dish of Scotch callops, and a leg o' red deer venison wi' me, come ye wi' this Sassenach gentleman as far as Drymen, or Bucklivie, or the Clachan of Aberfoil, will be better than ony o' them, and I'll hae somebody waiting to wise ye the gate to the place where I may be for the time. What say ye, man? There's my thumb. I'll ne'er beguile thee." "Na, na, Robin," said the cautious burgher, "I seldom like to leave the Gorbals. I had nae freedom to gang among your wild hills, Robin, and your kilted redshanks. It disna become my place, man." The Gorbals, or suburbs, are situate on the south side of the river. "The devil damn your place and you baith!" reiterated Campbell. "The only drap o' gentle blood that's in your body was our great grand uncle's that was justified at Dumbarton, and you set yourself up to say ye wad derogate frae your place to visit me." Justified. Executed for treason. "Hark thee, man, I owe you a day in harst. I'll pay up your £1,000 Scots, plack and bawbee, gin ye'll be an honest fallow for anes, and just dacker up the gate with this Sassenach." "Hout awa wi' your gentility," replied the Bailie; "carry your gentle bluid to the cross, and see what ye'll buy wi't. But if I were to come, wad ye really and soothfastly pay me the siller?" "I swear to ye," said the Highlander, "upon the halidom of him that sleeps beneath the grey stane at Inchcaillich." Inchcaillich is an island in Loch Lomond, where the clan of MacGregor were wont to be interred, and where their sepulchres may still be seen. It formerly contained a nunnery, hence the name of Inchcaillich, or the Island of Old Women. "Say nae mair, Robin, say nae mair. We'll see what may be dune. But ye maunna expect me to gang ower the Highland line. I'll gae beyond the line at no rate. Ye maun meet me about Bucklivie, or the Clachan of Aberfoil, and dinna forget the needful." "Nae fear," said Campbell. "I'll be as true as the steel blade that never failed its master. But I must be budging, cousin, for the air o' Glasgow tolbooth is no that ower salutary to a Highlander's constitution." "Troth," replied the merchant, "and if my duty were to be dune, ye couldna change your atmosphere, as the minister calls it, this wee while. Ochon that I suld ever be concerned in aiding and abetting an escape from justice. It would be a shame and disgrace to me and mine, and my very father's memory for ever." "Hout tout, man, let that fleece stick in the wa'," answered his kinsman. "When the dirt's dry it will rub out. Your father, honest man, could look ower a friend's fault as weel as anither." "Ye may be right, Robin," replied the Bailie, after a moment's reflection. "He was a considerate man, the deacon. He kenned we had a' our frailties, and he lo'ed his friends. Ye'll no hae forgotten him, Robin?" This question he put in a softened tone, conveying as much, at least, of the ludicrous as the pathetic. Forgotten him! replied his kinsman. What suld ail me to forget him? A wapping weaver he was, and wrought my first pair o' hose. But come awa, kinsman. Come fill up my cap, come fill up my can, come saddle my horses, and cull up my man. Come open your gates, and let me gae free. I durna stay long in bonny Dundee. Whisht, sir, said the magistrate in an authoritative tone. Lilting and singing sae near the latter end of the Sabbath, this house may hear ye sing anither tune yet. Aweel, we hae a backslidings to answer for. Stanchels, open the door. The jailor obeyed, and we all sallied forth. Stanchels looked with some surprise at the two strangers, wondering, doubtless, how they came into these premises without his knowledge. But Mr. Jarvie's "Friends o' mine, Stanchels, friends o' mine," silenced all disposition to inquiries. We now descended into the lower vestibule, and hallooed more than once for Dougal, to which summons no answer was returned, when Campbell observed with a sardonic smile, that if Dougal was the lad he kent him, he would scarce wait to get thanks for his ain share of the night's work, but was in all probability on the full trot to the pass of Ballamaha. "And left us! and abuna, me, mysell, locked up in the tolbooth a' night!" exclaimed the Bailie, in ire and perturbation. "Ca for forehammers, sledge-hammers, pinches, and coulters. Send for Deacon Yetlin, the smith, and let him ken that Bailie Jarvie's shut up in the tolbooth by a Highland blackguard, whom he'll hang up as high as Haman." "When ye catch him," said Campbell gravely. "But stay, the door is surely not locked." Indeed, on examination we found that the door was not only left open, but that Dougal in his retreat had, by carrying off the keys along with him, taken care that no one should exercise his office of porter in a hurry. "He has glimmerings o' common sense now, that creature Dougal," said Campbell. "He kenn'd an open door might have served me at a pinch." We were by this time in the street. "I tell you, Robin," said the magistrate, "in my puir mind, if ye live the life ye do, ye suld hae ane o' your gillies door-keeper in every jail in Scotland, in case o' the warst. Ane o' my kinsmen a bailie in ilka burgh will do just as weel, cousin Nicol. So good night, or good morning to ye. I forget not the clashin of Aberfoil." And without waiting for an answer, he sprung to the other side of the street, and was lost in darkness. Immediately on his disappearance, we heard him give a low whistle of peculiar modulation, which was instantly replied to. "Here to the Highland deevils!" said Mr. Jarvie. "They think themselves on the skirts of Ben Lomond already, where they may gang wi' wingand whistling about without minding Sunday or Saturday." Here he was interrupted by something which fell with a heavy clash on the street before us. "Good guide us, what's this mair o't? Mattie, haud up the lantern. Conscience, if it isna the keys! Weel, that's just as weel. They cost the burgh siller, and there might hae been some clavers about the loss o' them. Oh, and Bailie Graham were to get word of this nice job, it would be a sair hair in my neck." As we were still but a few steps from the Tolbooth door, we carried back these implements of office, and consigned them to the head jailor, who, in lieu of the usual mode of making good his post by turning the keys, was keeping sentry in the vestibule till the arrival of some assistant, whom he had summoned in order to replace the Celtic fugitive Dougal. Having discharged this piece of duty to the burgh, and my road lying the same way with the honest magistrate's, I profited by the light of his lantern, and he by my arm, to find our way through the streets, which, whatever they may be now, were then dark, uneven, and ill paved. Age is easily propitiated by attentions from the young. The Bailie expressed himself interested in me, and added, that since I was nane of that play-acting and play-ganging generation whom his saw hated, he would be glad if I would eat a rysted haddock, or a fresh herring, at breakfast wi' him the morn, and meet my friend Mr. Owen, whom, by that time, he would place at liberty. "My dear sir," said I, when I had accepted of the invitation with thanks, "how could you possibly connect me with the stage?" "I wotna," replied Mr. Jarvie. It was a bletherin' phrasin child they ca' fair service, that cam at e'en to get an order to send the crier through the town for ye at skreigh a day the morn. He telled me wha ye were, and how ye were sent frae your father's house because ye wouldna be a dealer, and that ye mightna disgrace your family wi' ganging on the stage. And Hammorgaw, our precentor, brought him here, and said he was an auld acquaintance. But I sent them both away, with a flee in their lug for bringing me sic an errand, on sic a night. But I see he's a fule creature a'thegither, and clean mista'en about ye. I like ye, man," he continued. "I like a lad that will stand by his friends in trouble. I aye did it mysell, and sae did the deacon my father, rest and bless him. But ye sudna keep ower mickle company wi' Highlandmen, and they wow cattle. Can a man touch pitch and not be defiled? I mind that. Nae doubt the best and wisest may err. Once, twice, and thrice have I backslidden, man, and doen three things, this night, my father wadna hae believed his een, if he could hae looked up and seen me do them." He was by this time arrived at the door of his own dwelling. He paused, however, on the threshold, and went on in a solemn tone of deep contrition. "Firstly, I hae thought my ain thoughts on the Sabbath. Secondly, I hae gi'en security for an Englishman, and, in the third and last place, well a day, I have let an ill doer escape from the place of imprisonment. But there's a balm in Gilead, Mr. Osbaldistone. Mattie, I can let mysell in see Mr. Osbaldistone to Luckie Flitters at the corner of the Wynd. Mr. Osbaldistone," in a whisper, "ye'll offer nae incivility to Mattie. She's an honest man's daughter, and a near cousin of the Laird of Limmerfield's." End of Volume 2, Chapter 6. Recording by Katie Riley, June 2010.